In today's video, I'm doing something a little bit different. So as an impulse purchase, I went to Best Buy and picked up a Sony XG300. So to start off, the design of the speaker is definitely impressive. It looks modern, it feels like it's built out of a premium material. The speaker has an indicator light for just about everything. The weight is well balanced and it doesn't pull too far to either side when you're picking it up. Over the past couple weeks, I've been using this speaker as a temporary replacement for my car and a work speaker to use at my office. I was pleasantly surprised at how much I fell in love with the handle. When I first got it, I didn't really think I would care all that much, but to my surprise, I ended up finding it super useful. So at my office, I've been putting it in this small little shelf space. It's only able to fit there because the handle has the ability to fold down. So portability, coming in at about 6.5 pounds. It's not the lightest speaker, but it's not the heaviest I've ever seen either. I was able to comfortably carry it from a building to my car for about 15 minutes with no problem. I've also been packing it into my backpack. While it does make it bigger and heavier, it does fit completely fine. Then again, I have a pretty large backpack. So moving on to volume and sound quality, rock and heavy metal sound great on this speaker. It's decently punchy and it gets pretty loud. So from my testing, I've seen from about, average listening distance around 98 decibels, but because the tweeters are so pronounced, it sounds so much louder than the meter actually says. When we play rap, on the other hand, it gets noticeably quieter. About 88 decibels from my testing with peaks up to like 94-ish. Of course, this depends on the song that you're playing, but something to note is that everything is way quieter than it is with rock or heavy metal, which is typical. However, it is really noticeable on this speaker, and it's not like that on some other speakers I've tested. As much as I love rap, I just haven't been really that satisfied with the volume level, so I've just mostly stuck to rock in my 2-week period of using it, because that's kind of just what sounded best on it. Moving on to app control. The apps were really disappointing. It gives you 2 different apps to choose from. Both have slightly different features. Without getting into too much detail about the apps, they're horrible. They look like a 2-year-old built them, and the user interface is one of the worst I have ever seen. Most of the features are stupid, useless, and they make absolutely no sense. Long story short, download the Music Center app so you can customize the sad little equalizer they have, but that's about all you want to use it for. The EQ does save onto the speaker, however, so you don't have to keep redoing it every time you connect a new device. This speaker is targeted towards bass-loving people, so I'm reviewing it as a Basshead. It has a mega bass button and that sad little equalizer that they have in the app. When I first opened the speaker, I was really disappointed because the bass response was almost not there at all. Like, it really didn't sound like it had much. So I gave it some time to break in to kind of give it a chance, and it did start to sound a little bit better, but it really didn't sound like how they were trying to market it. They were marketing this as a quote-unquote big bass speaker. Well, the bass is shit. The mega bass button basically makes absolutely no difference. However, the Music Center app does come with an equalizer that does make a significant difference. It is worth going into it and turning the bass up all the way because the bass response is kind of bad as it is. So if you turn it up all the way, it makes it sound more of what you would expect from a speaker like this. Overall ease of use, it's super easy to use. The buttons are clearly labeled as to what they do. And since there's indicator lights for absolutely everything, it leaves pretty little room to be confused. This speaker does allow multiple Bluetooth devices, which is nice if you want to have maybe a phone and a laptop connected at the same time, or maybe you're having a small party and you want to have 1 or 2 other people connected to the speaker so they can play music too. It does support multi-connections through Bluetooth. On the back, if we open up the flap for access to the ports, the buttons, and the charging port, we see a really slow 7.5 watt USB-A charging port, which you can use to charge any of your devices like phone, iPad, although I probably wouldn't use it anyway because it's really slow and this speaker already has a bad battery as it is. But it does have that small little USB-A port if you're ever in an emergency and needed it. There's also a 3.5mm auxiliary jack so that you can wire in instead of having to use Bluetooth. There's a Type-C charging port that charges at about 15 watts max. It also has a dedicated battery button to tell you the percentage left of the battery, and a dedicated light button to turn the lights on and off. The lights are a nice addition, but they're so dim that they're almost not noticeable. There is an option to play around with the light settings in the app, but I haven't found it to be very useful. Personally, I bought the speaker for sound. I could care less about the lights. Moving on to battery life, I was severely disappointed. This is probably the worst battery life I have ever seen in a speaker of this size. It lasts about 3 to 4 hours from my full volume rock usage. When the speakers are only pushing out around like 16 watts max, I feel like it should last a little bit longer than that, especially it weighing 6 pounds. At low volumes, it does last a lot longer. I was able to use it for like 7 to 8 hours and it was still about half battery, so pretty close to what it was advertising. But if you plan to use it at full volume, plan to bring a charger. Coming in at $160 brand new, it's pricey. Typically, Sony products are both hit or miss and pricey. Personally, if I were to buy this speaker again, I would just go to eBay and buy it used for like $80. Some, I saw that they were like around $60. That seems a lot more reasonable. I don't think this speaker is really worth that $160 price tag. I don't think the sound quality is nearly good enough. I don't see it as worth it at all. I do really love the design of it, so it kind of hurts me because like it's such an awesome design that I've never seen in another speaker, but because of the sound quality just isn't there, it just doesn't work for me. So Sony, this speaker, it's a miss. Honestly, terrible product. If you're looking to buy a speaker that's way better than this for like 40 bucks more on sale, I got you. Buy this instead. The Anker Soundcore Boom 2 Plus. That's it.
Look, tell a man no trouble, I don't want beef, man, I just want vibes. Big man like me, no need for the telephone hype. I got too much getting online. One rule, then I'm on site. Wrong move, I bet they gon' ride. No need for the telephone hype, nah. No need for the snoozing. Big whip outside, I'm cruising. Big stick inside.